Yeah. Hey, I think we're live. It's hard to tell. Saturday night at the Atheist. We just have a rational empiricist. What I call you, Rat for short? Amp? Rat Amp? Call you.
I don't know. I feel like that's an offensive name because rats are smart still.
Okay.
You can just call me A at this point.
We'll call you Amp.
Okay.
What? Oh, I'm A. Okay, A will work. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we could create an acronym R, A-R-E.
Yeah, R. For some reason.
Oh dear, technical difficulties.
Yes. Okay, now I got those sorted.
Okay.
Cool. So you got that figured out. Let's go ahead and play this and see what it's like.
Okay.
So,
see what you think of it.
That definition of science. Which we haven't heard it yet. Why are you contesting already? No direction. he's already protesting. Wait. And we haven't even heard. Whoops. We got to turn the sound on.
Who won a Nobel Prize for building one of the first quantum theories of electricity and magnetism. It's called quantum electrodynamics. This is back in the 1940s and 50s. It's our best theory today of how light interacts with matter. But Feynman was also, I recommend that you read his books. He was a brilliant teacher, a brilliant lecturer, as well as a Nobel Prize-winning physicist. And he gave this lecture back in, I think it was the 1960s, and it's just a 1-minute definition of the scientific method.
I'm going to discuss how we would look for a new law. In general, we look for a new law by the following process. First, we guess it. Then we that's really true. Then we compute the consequences of the guess to see if this is right, if this law that we guessed is right, we see what it would imply, and then we compare those computation results to nature, or we say compare to experiment or experience. Compare it directly with observation to see if it works. If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong. And that simple statement is the key to science. It doesn't make a difference how beautiful your guess is. It doesn't make a difference how smart you are who made the guess or what his name is. If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong. That's all there is to it.
That's pretty good.
I think that's a really beautiful description of what science is. It's really very simple. It's the application of common sense in many ways. What it is looking at the universe, looking at nature, guessing about how it works, seeing what the consequences of that guess are, testing those against nature, and as Feynman said, the great power of science. It doesn't matter who you are. There's no such thing as authority in science. If your guess disagrees with nature, then it's wrong, and that's all there is to it.
Pretty cool.
Hi, good old Brian Cox.
Hi, Leo.
Yes.
I don't know what you're disagreeing with.
Who said I disagreed with anything?
No direction. He disagrees. Plenty of hypotheses which end up failing to meet expectation and predictions. And background theory or information is amended, and the hypothesis is tried again.
Okay. So
well, that would be a different
hypothesis. Is he talking about falsification, basically, like Popper?
No, he's getting at the point that he did not necessarily agree with the particular definition of science that was provided there. I can't say that I necessarily agree with it either. I don't think there is one set definition for what science is, because science isn't one thing. Science is many things. Most importantly, science is a methodology for understanding the real world from an objective standpoint. There are numerous different ways we can do that, and thus there are numerous different definitions that are applicable and utilitarian, so to speak, when it comes to science. Science is much more fluid than a lot of people think that it is.
Sure, yeah. I would say it I guess it has a lot of certain properties that we can all tell that is science and that is not science, but I would agree it's kind of fuzzy at the borders. There's a lot of different. It's like a structure basically. And
By the way,
there's
Speed. Go
Well,
ahead.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
well,
I
I
was
was gonna, okay. I was gonna say really quickly. If you want more subscribers on your channel, put something in the about section on your channel.
oh
No,
yes.
I'm not joking. Like those small things help.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've been thinking about crafting something, so I'm working on it.
Don't make it too convoluted, where it's like
Yeah.
3 paragraphs, but don't make it like 1 sentence. Like mine is probably like the perfect example. Not to
Yeah.
toot my own horn of what you should do. John Maddox's is not, because his is a whole motherfucking lecture, pretty much.
Oof.
Diatribe.
Yeah, there you go. That's a better word for it. Where the fuck is everybody else? David Neff
don't
said
know.
he's going to be here, but he's going to be a little late. I don't know what time he's going to be coming in.
Walker's said he's going to be a little bit late. So
I guess it's just us free for the moment.
Where the hell is Impunable at?
Imputable is probably walking. You know,
I swear that's all
where
that
he
guy
is.
does.
That's all he does. I don't think his family lets him in the house during the day. They only let him sleep there. It's understandable.
I'm trying to figure out why the fuck, this is another reason I know that we're not intelligently designed. Because if we were, we would not have eyelashes.
No direction. That's pretty funny.
If we were intelligently designed, our balls wouldn't be hanging on the outside.
And if they were, they'd be much tougher than they are.
Tougher, right? Yeah, I mean, that's just ridiculous.
And why does sex, and also for intelligently designed, why does sex only feel as good as it does? Why does it not feel even more good?
More good, yeah.
I mean,
I shall not speak anymore.
Well, for that's why they invented mushrooms. And
I've never had sex
LSD.
on mushrooms. I totally would, though.
Oh my God. Don't get me started.
All right.
But
So
first,
Speed, what
Mad Max.
What is the Mad
Somebody's
Max proposed?
Our student is
Mad
trying to, the younger of us is trying to change the subject.
Yes,
okay.
because I don't like the subject.
Hang on
You
a
don't like
second.
what?
Oh, I said
What'd
I
you say
don't
you
like
don't
the
like?
subject where it's heading
Oh, you don't like to talk about sex? Why not?
Or mushrooms?
because
Mushrooms
I
and
haven't
sex?
gotten there yet.
Oh,
So,
well, that's.
well, let me give you some advice, because I have a feeling that the first time is going to be coming shortly. Do whatever the fuck she says, exactly how she says to. That's the only thing I can say. My very first time, it wasn't like it was terrible, but it wasn't like, the mate busting ever, because we were both rather young. The next time after that was with somebody much older than me at the time, and thereby obviously was more experienced. And she just straight up said, don't be afraid to ask a woman what she wants and to do what she tells you exactly as she tells you. And the one thing I can say is you will learn to understand what a woman is telling you by her voice, by the way she's moving, numerous things. And you just got to work off of that.
Sure.
My advice is always learn how to pet a cat.
I already put
Under the chin in a way that makes him go like this.
If the cat likes you, you're okay. You'll do well. Okay, let's play Maddox.
Mad Max.
And this is a pretty freely admitted premise, even by the Lee Cronins of the world, when he's actually put on the spot about it. That we have no clue, and he's considered one of the leading origin of life researchers.
Well, that's not close to prevailing opinion. Put it that way.
Oh, really?
Okay. What aspect do you think
really?
is
So
the major issue?
Which aspect? All of them. So you've got you've got genetic code, you've got the protein problem, you have the replication problem, you have you have all of the pieces of biology that I mean, you got the homochirality problem. You have the homeolinkage problem.
Okay, what the fuck is the homeolinkage problem?
I don't know.
He just made that up. I don't know.
So you got all these problems. What are you going to do about it?
He comes up with a whole. Have you ever heard of a homeolinkage problem?
Nope, not once.
What an asshat.
So the homochirality, I'm assuming, is just the quote unquote chirality problem.
Yeah.
Can I share can I share something with you guys about that?
Yeah.
Sure.
Alrighty. Give me just a second here because it takes fucking for ages for shit to load. From nature.com, Nature Journal. This was in 2014. It is entitled A Cross-Chiral RNA Polymerase Ribozyme. Quote, here we develop such a cross-chiral RNA polymerase using in vitro evolution, starting from a population of random sequence RNAs. The dRNA enzyme, consisting of 83 nucleotides, catalyzes the joining of L-mono or oligonucleotide substrates on a complementary L-RNA template. And similar behavior occurs for the L enzyme with D substrates and a D template. Chiral inhibition is avoided because the 100-fold acceleration of the enzyme only pertains to cross-chiral substrates. The enzyme's activity is sufficient to generate full-length copies of its enantiomer through the templated joining of 11 component oligonucleotides, end quote.
God, are we talking about organic chemistry?
No, I'm talking about how the chirality problem is no longer a problem.
Hey, Leo, you got a link
for a while. Yes, I'm trying to pull it now. If my fucking mouse would.
Okay.
Cooperate.
Walker,
that wasn't the only thing that I wanted to share about that, though, if I may.
Do I want to what?
Did you sign in through StreamYard, or are you?
I think I'm on your StreamYard account.
Oh, are you right now? Okay, try muting me. Try muting.
Gladly. Got him.
That worked. Yeah. Okay, good. Because I may end up bailing for a little bit and coming back.
Okay.
And you be in charge.
Sick.
Hey, Walker.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, so what else? Leo, go.
Okay, this is from the Astrophysical Journal Letters, iopscience.iop.org, from May of 2020, The Chiral Puzzle of Life. And they say, quote, it is shown that magnetically polarized cosmic rays that dominate at ground level today can impose a small but persistent chiral bias in the rate at which they induce structural changes in simple chiral monomers that are the building blocks of bipolymers. A much larger effect should be present with helical bipolymers, in particular those that may have been the progenitors of ribonucleic acid and deoxyribonucleic acid, RNA and DNA for those too stupid to understand what those terms mean. It is shown that the interaction can be both electrostatic, just involving the molecular electric field, and electromagnetic, also involving a magnetic field. It is argued that this bias can lead to the emergence of a single chiral life form over an evolutionary timescale. If this mechanism dominates, then the handedness of living systems should be universal. Experiments are proposed to assess the efficacy of this process, end quote.
I will have to check that out. Oh, let me see here. Copy link.
So yeah, the chiral problem is not really much of a problem anymore.
Mm-hmm. Hey guys, you all have wrenches. Put the links in public chat so everybody can link the stuff.
Okay.
That would really be handy.
So what are y'all watching right now?
This logical, plausible, down. It's
Mad
laughable,
Max
pitiable, and punchable.
Understand?
LPP.
Yeah. This is okay. You got to hear this.
You have a problem. You have the replication problem. You have all of you have all of the pieces of biology that. I mean, you got the homochirality problem. You have the homeolinkage problem. You have
there it is, homeolinkage problem. Do you know what that is?
Homeolinkage problem?
Yeah, try Googling it.
I have no idea.
He must mean something. I'm not sure what he means. If you Google it, you get homeopathy, for your back and stuff like that. I don't know what the hell.
Homeolinkage.
He just made that shit up. He's making shit up.
Figure out what he's trying to refer to.
Do you see the name of this? The 30-minute destruction. And he puts expert in quotes for a guy that's actually a PhD who's working in molecular biology. He calls him a expert in quotes, right? He's not a real expert.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what a dipshit. Anyway, we're just listening to it.
Okay.
This is from like a few months ago, back when Matt Dillahunty and who did Dillahunty debate famously on Modern Day Debate?
Matt Dillahunty.
Matt Dillahunty and somebody else.
It was not John Maddox.
It was not John Maddox. It was somebody else. Who the hell was it? Was it Nephilim? I don't know. It was somebody like that. I doubt Dillahunty would debate Nephilim. Anyway, I'm going to play it.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't.
I mean, there's an ongoing list of recognized issues from a prebiotic chemistry perspective that are freely admitted and force a utter reliance on deep time for this to even have a remote.
Can somebody tell me what that means?
What's that?
How does time have depth? That's not. I don't get it.
That's what they call millions of years, deep time. And I want to point out that all of these problems, chirality and all the other problems he mentioned, are always going to be problems in abiogenesis because we are never going to figure out for sure how it happened. They are problems that there are thousands of papers on.
I've Googled like 4 of the problems he mentioned and have found nothing on them. So whatever problems he's talking about are certainly not being published in any academic journals and are not being discussed amongst the academics or the scholars.
He's talking like an asshat.
Well, his answer to that would just be, well, of course they're not talking about it because they want to just prove themselves right. Although that's obviously not the point of science.
The RNA-based pairing problem?
What happened?
Okay, so here's a note. Can refer to the RNA-based pairing problem just being presented by somebody who sounds smarter than me.
What is the RNA-based pairing problem? I don't think RNA has any problem forming Watson-Crick pairs.
I don't know. I'm not sure what the RNA-based pairing problem is.
Maybe he's talking about uracil and thymine. I have no idea.
Maybe. Let's see if that's a thing.
That would make a whole lot of sense.
It's problem of RNA.
Yeah, here's the RNA-based pairing problem. So here's a paper on it.
Well, didn't he also say the same thing? Like he also said RNA-based pairing problem?
He might have. I
thought that was like the first one he said.
Did he really? Let's see.
You got the home pieces. You've got issue. Oh, really?
Okay. What aspect do you think
really?
is
so
the major issue? And
which aspect? All of them. So you've got you've got genetic code, you've got the protein problem, you have the replication problem, you have you have all of the pieces of biology that. I mean, you have the homochirality problem, you have the homeolinkage problem, you have. There's an ongoing list of recognized.
Nope. Okay, maybe not. Yeah.
We review the progress in RNA structure analysis, focusing on methods that employ the cross-link proximally ligate and sequence principle for high throughput detection of base pairing interactions in living cells. Still don't know what they're talking about. Beginning with the comparison. Anyway, okay.
Wait, so when was this live stream? Was this a while ago?
Yeah, it was actually a while ago, and he just posted it yesterday.
Oh, but he posted this clip yesterday, but
yeah, okay. He cut it out of the middle because he claims
standing for truth thing.
Yeah, and he did a really shitty job on this. I mean, he treated Doc Savage very badly in this clip. We have gone over it before, I think. So
really,
so here's the RNA-based pairing problem, which is probably beyond me at this time of the night.
Too late. Fair enough.
Well, I'm not functioning right now at all.
Mm-hmm.
So we will have to make note of that. That's why I want you in control. Let's see. Okay. see what else
issues from a prebiotic chemistry perspective that are freely admitted and force a utter reliance on deep time for this to even have a remote premise of plausibility. So, I mean, to say that this is not something that's in major conundrum, I mean, I'd like to find out where you're getting that from, because there's ongoing stuff from this year talking about how they're nowhere close.
Well, it's interesting. You linked the.
Oh, did it pause or something?
Yeah, I paused. That is a subjective opinion, how close we are or how much progress we're making. And you will find that any abiogenesis researcher will take the humble approach and say, we know nothing. And these guys take that to mean that we really do know nothing, and we really do know a lot. So, in fact, the papers from the Royal Society that John originally brought up in his very first YouTubes, or his very first debates, talk about how much we do know about how tRNA, how aminoacyl tRNA synthesis has evolved, basically. So we know a hell of a lot about it. I've been reading those papers for the second time just recently, and there's quite a bit in there. And apparently Maddox missed all of that. He missed all the papers that he himself has been touting since he started his YouTube channel. He should go read them again. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the whole thing with science. Whenever you discover something new, that just opens up another can of worms, right? It's like another set of questions that we have to answer.
Yeah.
So, we answer one question, like how do molecules form, and we have the basis of chemistry, and there's been a lot more questions since then. Yeah. Science is never solved, or else it's not science. What were you saying?
Yeah. Otangelo's here.
Hello.
And he's asking how they evolved.
This paper is interesting because it seems to be talking about a problem with identifying or determining the structures of RNAs. I don't exactly know what they mean by the structure.
There's a whole statistical path for. Oh, you're reading the RNA base pairing? Yeah. There is a whole statistical path for 2 codon, basically dinucleotide codons, selecting certain amino acids, and then the extension. And you can see it if you analyze the code mathematically. It tells you a whole hell. It's not random. It's not just arbitrarily assigned. It has to do with the properties of the amino acids that are picked, and they cluster together. And those papers from the Royal Society that Maddox is touting are the ones where you can find some information on that. I forget which authors right now, but I was just reading about it. So it's there. And Demeter's also has his stuff works on the statistics of basically GC rich being the more common nucleotides and being the more likely. And there's a reason why the code developed the way it developed. So
problems that you have as expressed in a list to deep time, is that the key issue?
No, I'm saying that you're you are the one that has to rely on deep time. I'm saying that deep time, without deep time, the premise of abiogenesis is not even a remotely feasible component. That's freely admitted, even though the improbabilities of it completely destroy the entire premise of deep time in the first place. So I'm not really following what your point is.
Yeah, I hold up, slow this up. What the fuck does he?
Did you say foreskin?
This is something that's freely admitted when literally no academic uses the term deep time. That's not a term that you hear any academic use. I don't understand what he's talking about. He's inserting his own language and own opinions into the science and then claiming that the academics agree with him. That is woefully dishonest. Woefully dishonest.
Immutable, get your butt in here. You have a link.
I completely accept the requirement for extended periods of prebiotic chemistry. And we have those. So it would take a first-year lecture course to go into all of them, but this is what I do for a living, and it's essentially what I've been doing for all of my career. The apparent problems that you have seem linked to perhaps a young Earth position that is itself very difficult to establish as fact.
I haven't said anything about young Earth.
Correct.
I'm talking about the origin of life. And I would like you, since you're supposed to do this professionally, I would like you.
The hell he didn't. He just brought up deep time himself. He just said it, right? And now he's claiming that he's not talking about young Earth.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just complaining about deep time. So he's, oh, God.
To point me to a paper or your own professional stance that says we actually have a remote clue other than pure hypothetical. Oh, wait, I guess if all of these things happened perfectly, then please expound, because I read up on this stuff on a regular basis. And everything I'm seeing, I was reading papers on this last night, actually, and from this year, and it's still being freely admitted that it's not. So you're the expert. Go ahead. Multiple, but go ahead. You're the expert. Go ahead. Tell us how we're so close.
Precise question.
You just said a few minutes ago that you professionally are doing this, and that we are very close to understanding how this is done. And you said you do this professionally. So please expound. How so?
Well, what part of abiogenesis is the problem in terms of the chemistry that you see being the first point? That it nucleotide analysis? Is it catalytic based on matrix? Is it self-replication? Is it membrane formation? Is it ribozyme activity? I mean, any of these?
So I'm pretty sure all of those represent problems, as you well know, and the organization of all of those into a working system is another layer of that issue. Correct?
Well, the things you've described as problems are all demonstrated to be.
So you're telling me that the helicase. So you're telling me that the helicase. You're telling me that the helicase can form itself. So you're saying the helicase can form itself.
Okay. So how the hell did he get to the helicase forming itself from a talk about abiogenesis? I mean, Doc is
understandably confused by logical. Whatever the hell.
LPP?
No, Lil PP.
Lil PP?
No, not LPP. Lil PP.
Lil PP. I like it.
No, I'm telling you that
Are you saying that a ribosome? Can a working function of a ribosome form itself?
That with this at all. So I'm trying to understand where the
is a ribosome an ultimate component of transcription and translation and protein synthesis.
What you've said there is meaningless.
It's meaningless. So you're saying that a working ribosome is not
because those things can happen in a ribosomal.
By themselves, you're saying that the
what I'm saying is,
are you saying that full protein synthesis can occur without a working ribosome and all the other proteins and enzymes that are required for the transcription translation process?
Well, it seems that you're moving questions each time.
I'm not. I'm asking the ultimate question of abiogenesis, which is how does a living system come into existence without all the parts? Ultimately, especially in terms of the replication process, which there's many, And it's been recognized in quite a few papers that the entire premise of the full replication system being able to come into existence
Who said that
all
all
by
aspects
itself is
of
not
what
really a
life
plausible
today were present when it was first developing?
deal.
See,
I mean, are you telling me that the linkage problem just for nucleotides is not a valid one? Because I'm pretty sure
when it started. And
Did you mean to say foreskin?
That's literally never been the case. No professional would say that. I've never heard a professional say that. In fact, I've heard every professional I've talked to agree with me that we shouldn't expect all of the functions and the structures that we find in life today present billions of years ago. That just wasn't the case. The complexity emerged as evolution continued to develop new systems that in turn ended up developing new functions that have changed numerous times, giving rise to new functions and even newer structures. It's like arguing, well, so when the car was first made, it had to have an ECM, right? Yeah, you had to have an ECM in it. Because cars today cannot function without an ECM, the engine control module. The first cars didn't fucking have those, but they still functioned. They didn't have a lot of the things that cars require today to function, but they still functioned. Gee.
So Otangelo in the chat is talking about the evolution of the first mechanisms and talking about saying that there was no selection before there was DNA. And I asked him a simple question.
I can cite a paper that shows that's false. There was there was selection in early forms of RNA amplification occurring. So
well, I asked him this question and he refuses to answer it. If something is statistically more probable, will it be more abundant? If it's more abundant, then you have natural selection based on something that simple.
Exactly. We can see this in the Jesus, what the fuck is
But he won't answer.
There's numerous things you can do that show that certain paths that are more likely to be taken are going to be more often taken in certain what the fuck is the one thing where you drop all the little marbles and then they hit the little thing, not plinko, is it? No, that's the one thing. It's you drop all those marbles and then they go and then they collect in tubs at the bottom. Those marbles will take the paths that essentially of least resistance, the paths that are going to be the paths that are more statistically likely. That's why you'll see more of those little marbles take those paths. It's just a matter of statistics.
So now he's backtracking because we were talking about how tRNAs.
He says there was no evolution. He said there was no evolution prior to DNA replication. How does he know that? What experiments did he do to demonstrate the truth of that?
He just guessed.
How does he know that evolution cannot occur in an RNA only environment? How does he know that? And why is it that the vast majority of those in academia don't agree with that statement that he just made?
It's because they're all biased.
I'm yelling at Immutable. Okay, going on.
Okay. Like the last paper I saw on it was like around 200. It starts to collapse.
So are we talking about
200
protein
nucleotides
synthesis or nucleotide polymerization? Because those aren't the same thing.
Well, I'm saying that all of these are relevant. So I'm saying you're saying that
they all are.
Okay, so is the linkage problem valid? Yes or no?
Which linkage? Protein or DNA or
nucleotide.
RNA?
Nucleotide
linkage. A phosphodiester bond is what is the question?
The question is in the lab, do we have a bonding problem that usually, in the range of around 200, where a artificially created strand starts to collapse?
I see.
Is that yes or no?
We're now talking about helicase activity in the presence of high temperature, right?
No, I'm saying without the helicase. I'm talking about just in context of
what does he think helicase does?
Synthetic DNA.
I don't know why he keeps talking about helicase.
Yeah, helicase has no relevance as like keeping polymers together.
Right.
Helicase is
It basically divides the double strand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, He probably is referring to ligase, but he doesn't know what he's talking about, if I had to guess.
Well, in the way that Doc is responding to questions
So
and asking
at
for
this point-
clarification tells you how vague the statements that LPP is making, and that he obviously doesn't really understand. He's just stringing together, like he does, a bunch of words to sound like he knows what he's talking about when he really doesn't. And he's hoping that he knows this. He knows that Doc knows more than him. I'm assuming Doc has a degree relevant to this field. It sounds like he does.
Mhm.
He's hoping, though, that he can say something in a way that trips him up, that trips up Doc, so that Doc is like, wait, what? So then LPP can make it look like he knows more than as somebody who's actually a professional in the field.
I know.
Yeah,
I find that extremely funny because whenever you have a professional in the field saying, "Wait, what are you talking about?" it usually means you're not making any sense.
What
You know?
what LPP is doing essentially is breathtakingly dishonest.
Yeah, Doc asked him, "What are you talking about, nucleotides or proteins?" He wouldn't even answer that question. Well, they're both relevant. It's like, yeah, they are relevant, but which one are you fucking talking about? It's just, God.
Yeah, when he asked him, wait, what linkage problem?
Disingenuous?
When he was saying
No,
what
just-
linkage problem, he was referring to which one specifically are you talking about?
Ribozymes, my friend.
I also tried to look up. I thought that I have heard that there is a way. I don't know if it would be proteins, but that there is a way to synthesize peptides absent a ribosome. But I can't find anything on that, so I might be wrong on that. But I thought I've heard that that can be done.
They found some method with a self auto-reproducing dinucleotide structure that basically reproduces itself. And I was just reading something in the Royal Society papers that Maddox linked. But we'd have to, but it referred to another paper, and I haven't downloaded that paper yet. So anyway, there are ways for real simple mechanisms that do not involve ribosomes, which are huge and complex, way overcomplicated, ridiculously stuffed, almost like a ball of mud. But there are much simpler methods for creating proteins from RNA and mRNA.
I've always said that if you could shrink a creationist down to a level where we could literally take like kind of magic school bus style and take them into a cell, into the nucleus and into the ribosome, so that they can actually physically see what's happening, they would probably stop being a creationist. Because I've been told it does not, like all the fanciful
Pictures, animation,
pictograms are purposefully made to look intuitive. And this is why I worded it, because this is the way it was worded for me, because the guy's like, you're big in physics. So he said, it's like with Feynman diagrams. You know as well as I do that that's not what particle interactions look like. They look fucking nothing like what a Feynman diagram depicts them as, or the lines and stuff that you see in the stuff that comes out of CERN. That's not what it looks like. Those are overly simplistic, highly
like chemical bonds and Lewis structures and stuff.
Yeah, and he said if it would look like a hot chaotic soup that you didn't know what the fuck was going on or where, you would look at this and be like, why the fuck is that even there? It's doing nothing. What he said, this is insane that people think that this is some harmonious system that just operates beautifully. No, that is not what the translation and or the transcription and translation processes look like.
Mm. No, absolutely. I mean, they're remarkably efficient, right? But they only produce the correct protein. Like, what is it? I mean, it's like 99 times out of 100 or something. And it's just because you're producing so many that you have like plenty of the correct protein.
Again, it comes down to the statistics.
Yeah. It's just chemical reactions.
Yeah. That's all of it is. Like, if you took away these chemicals, or if you changed the structure of these chemicals, the functions would change completely. You change the structure of DNA, you get a different mRNA. You change the structure of the mRNA, you get different proteins, if any proteins at all. Like, this is literally just particular chemicals, molecules and macromolecules interacting in certain ways based on their structure. If you change structure, you change the type of chemical reaction that occurs, and you change the particular outcome that is a result of that chemical reaction. This is literally just molecules in motion. That's literally what it is.
What does Otangelo think we cannot understand conceptually? We don't conceptually agree with you, Otangelo, that it's impossible. And you haven't shown that it's impossible. Can you point me to a paper that shows me that it's impossible for tRNA to develop prebiotically? Show me your paper. For Christ's sake.
Natural processes are impossible, but God magic, now that's some real shit right there.
I'd like to see Otangelo come in and actually back up some of this, because he's wanting me to give explanations, and so far I have.
And if he does come in, I won't say a word. I'll just let Immutable handle it, because I know Immutable is way more capable at handling it than I am.
Yeah, he'll quit if you talk over him. Anyway. So, what day are we talking about this? I'll set something up. Yeah, okay. What day are we talking about?
Is the link for
Friday 12th.
Is the link for this stream in the chat?
No.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, it's up to. I guess it would be up to you, Speed, whether or not you wanted Otangelo to come in.
I am not fit to have an opinion tonight.
Well, then I guess you'd have to delegate that to somebody else.
I just posted the link. I didn't even know what I was doing. I just posted it. Sorry.
Do you want it to be removed, or I don't care?
I don't care. Yeah, if Otangelo wants to come in and back some of this shit up, but we're not going to listen to a long stream, Otangelo. You're going to have to be succinct, because my patience is thinner than hell.
By the way, does Sal still want to set up a quantum mechanics talk? I just had a lot of shit going on last week, and when is it?
12/4, 9:30 p.m. Friday, 12/4, right?
Which Friday? This coming Friday?
12/4, whenever the fuck that is. When is 12/4?
That would probably be this coming Friday if today's the 29th.
Yeah, what day is it?
It's the 29th.
29th.
9:30 p.m. I'm assuming. I don't know what time period would that be? EST, CST, MT, or PT?
Time period? I would assume modern. Yeah, I don't know what time zone Sal is.
Okay, so here's his paper. This is his proof. Prebiotic emergence of proteins or even ribozymes is an unwarranted claim. Okay.
Wait. Ask him to expound on what he means by that.
You just did. I'm sure he's listening. So what did you mean by that, Otangelo? Peptides are not enzymes. No, peptides are proteins. I'm sorry.
Well,
wait a minute. Peptides are not proteins?
Peptides are like amino acids.
Well, no, they're short proteins.
Peptide chains are short proteins.
That's not what I'm looking for.
Oligomers. Oligomers? How do you say that? Mutable?
That's probably
oligomer.
Oligomer.
Oligomer, yeah. Oligomer.
Oligomer.
Is Otangelo denying protein folding from peptide chains?
He's denying that peptides can have any enzymatic activity. We don't know that. I'm pretty sure they do. If they're
like polypeptide chains, definitely can.
Well, if you had like a 20 amino acid peptide chain that was foldable in some fashion.
Can we pause for like just 10 seconds really quickly? Sal, at 9:30 p.m. EST. If that's where you're going to be doing some quantum mechanics talking, feel free to shoot me in email a link to that chat. I'd very much be interested in being there, because I will probably learn something alongside everyone else.
Okay, Otangelo, that's kind of a subjective opinion. I will call for me a dipeptide is a protein. 100 amino acids is kind of arbitrary. It's what we picked.
I thought that a peptide was just a string of amino acids put together.
Yeah.
Like if you had, say, like 27 amino acids strung together, that'd be a peptide, or you could even say like a polypeptide chain.
Or 5.
Yeah.
Well, a protein is a polypeptide.
Yeah.
Or
yep.
I don't know. Polyamine.
Well, it's polypeptide, not a polyamine.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. But I've heard peptides. I've heard very small amino acid chains referred to as peptides. In fact, I think they sell products like that. I don't know. Okay. But who gives a shit what we call them, right? Does it make any difference? Let's play some of Maddox.
Point. You've taken me down a rabbit hole of about 19 questions.
This was
that's the part I wanted to get to.
Fair enough.
Doc is like, what in the hell are you talking about? What have I walked into?
Yeah,
if you're an expert, if you're actually an expert, this is a very direct one, because this is a fundamental component.
Perhaps you could rephrase your question and summarize it in a sentence.
Okay. In order for DNA to form, you have to have the base pairs, correct?
What?
And they have to bond to the phosphate backbone, correct?
That's a great question. Yes.
Yes.
The phosphate backbone is one thing, and
there's more about
bonding to each other.
Right, with the hydrogen bond. Yes, with the hydrogen bond. What I'm saying is, when we've in the lab, when we try to create a synthetic DNA strand and bond and
by
link
do you mean
the nucleotides?
Or just...
I'm saying.
Okay, first of all, he's talking about coming up with a string of nucleotides. Then he's talking about coming up with a double strand, right? So he's like mixing the two things. And that's his fucking question?
And the experts in the chemistry lab, when they try to do it synthetically, not modifying existing DNA, they try to do it artificially. Around 150 to 200 nucleotides.
The power of a Google search will do for you.
Did you say foreskin?
No.
Oh.
I did not. But I will show this.
What?
Hold on. Wait a minute.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Let me put some science in it.
That's pretty good.
So, small and random peptides in unexplored reservoir are potentially functional primitive organocatalysis. The case of seryl histidine. And what this article goes on to mention is that the smallest peptide that has activity is this, histidine.
It's a dipeptide.
Yeah, it's a little dipeptide.
Yep. So put the link in the chat, please.
Yeah, very small little peptide.
It's a cute little peptide.
Oh, it's a PDF.
Yep, it's a PDF document.
Also, Otangelo, he said 124 nucleotides for the smallest.
Did you put it in there?
One sec. I'm getting the name of the paper, and then, no.
He said it's not a protein. Oh, that's not a protein.
That's not a protein. We're talking about how many amino acids do you need to have catalytic activity. I overestimated and said it was about 10 to 12. Whereas you said it's 124. We're both wrong. Turns out to be 2.
Yeah. Yep.
Why is it that, we don't know this, therefore it can't ever happen? I don't get that mentality. I don't get it. Or this is the way we see it work today, so that's the way it should have always had to work. Makes no sense. Like, it goes back to saying, no car can be functional without an ECM. We can go back 80, 90 years, and there are cars that function just fine without an ECM amongst dozens of other aspects that are in modern cars that are not in the earliest cars.
Otangelo, what we're talking about is the ability of small peptides to have catalytic activity, which in turn means that whatever reaction is going to occur, those peptides are going to favor selectively the formation of some set of products over another.
Yeah.
Right? So it's
That's
going
just
to cause
chemistry.
Yeah, it's going to cause disequilibria within a system. And unfortunately, the answer to that is 2.
Wow, this is weird. Immutable? When I click on that link, I get Saturday Night at the Atheist.
Do you?
Yeah, it will not. I mean, the link looks good, but for some reason, when I'm clicking on it, it's all fucked up.
Is that so?
Wait, what?
That's weird.
Yeah.
What is Otangelo even saying?
There was no selection at this stage, just random reactions. That's not correct.
Well, I believe that selection emerges out of random reactions that are favored statistically.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if there's a weak selection pressure, like that'll cause that one to become propagated more often than other varieties.
I mean, if you take a bunch of different elements and you put them together, you're going to get, and you come back, at some point you're going to have an abundance of one particular, or maybe a couple of different molecules over others, because it's more likely that those bonds are going to form. It's more likely that those chemicals are going to form over other ones.
Mm-hmm.
Statistics. I mean, I don't understand how. I just don't.
Okay,
you just don't.
Apparently,
and this is why I say that statistics is one of the most important mathematics that can be taught, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really is.
I'm inclined to agree. Yeah.
Algebra and statistics, geometry. Yeah, I mean, but I'm just not a fan of geometry. I never really liked geometry.
I mean, also, I don't think geometry is quite as relevant. Geometry is more relevant to other maths, right? Like if you're doing calculus, you could probably understand geometry.
At least the basics of geometry. More trigonometry than geometry, but yeah, geometry.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I would consider isn't trigonometry a subfield of geometry?
If calculus and geometry together would just be differential geometry. The calculus of shapes and surfaces and how they change and move. Essentially. Mm-hmm. Change and move, wow. Not move, just change.
Important for string theory.
Yep.
If geometry.
And that's wild ass shit. When the hell is David Neff coming into the stream?
I have no idea.
He was here.
Was he already here?
He was, and then he left. Yeah.
When?
I brought him in.
I don't remember him coming in at all.
Maybe this really didn't happen.
I don't think it did.
I
can ask him and see when he plans on.
Okay, if it happened in my mind, it's real, right?
According to Atangelo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this case, it's even worse because he's relying on, some ancient deity that exists outside of space and time that just somehow poofed the existence into being. Don't ask how.
Yeah.
I like asphalt.
He's even told me that he doesn't know how God does anything, and then I just said, well, then how is it an explanation? Because in order to be an explanation, it has to explain. You can't just assert that this thing did this, but not tell me how. Otherwise, what you have is just an assertion and no explanation.
Yeah, I mean, I like Aaron Ra's quote in this case.
David said he is coming in.
Everything, but religion knows nothing.
Yeah, David said he is coming in when he gets home. I'm assuming probably within the next 10 to 20 minutes, somewhere in there.
Okay.
He really wasn't here, huh?
He did say he was going to be coming in, yeah.
I did see him.
Praise is getting, Joel is getting beat up on Praise's stream. I gotta go. Let me just go take a look at this really quick.
Oh, really?
I just want to take a look at it.
Wait, so is everyone just like beating the shit out of Joel right now?
Yeah,
because Smokey's going after him, Praise is going after him. Who does he have left? Atangelo?
Yeah, I mean, Atangelo will stick with anybody as long as they
agree with him.
Well, I mean, I do agree with Otangelo saying like, "Hey, maybe we shouldn't just like be assholes to other people."
Yeah,
I also don't think that necessarily means like, but we should just defend them no matter what they do, even if it's kind of sketchy.
I trust Otangelo as far as I can throw him, and I don't even think I can pick him off the ground.
So who's beating Joel up?
Well, there's Mr. Lizard's in there, Red Fang's in there, somebody by the name of Smoky Taint. I'm assuming that might be Maynard Saves. Because I know Maynard calls him that a lot. I don't know for sure.
Could be.
I don't know who.
In Praise's live stream?
Yeah.
So it's just praising a bunch of atheists?
No, it's
Dr. Gavin Herleman.
Dr. Gavin Herleman, PHF. I don't know what the fuck that is.
I don't know. Hard to say.
It's fake, I can tell you that much.
Yep.
He doesn't have a PhD or any doctoral degree in anything other than maybe bullshit.
Practicing hillbilly fascist?
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay, Joel. Okay, Joel is getting beaten up on Praise. I wonder who's beating him up. Lori.
Somebody's eating chips, and I'm like 99% sure it's immutable.
Mutable, quit eating. Okay.
Good guess.
I muted
If
him.
somebody's eating, it's usually immutable.
I muted him.
Well, I mute myself whenever I'm eating. Eating right now.
So who just left the stream?
We lost
Yeah.
a rational skeptic.
Somebody kicked me out.
Oh, no, we didn't. I'm just dumb. Rational Pierces, not rational skeptic.
Yeah. So we're trying to figure out whether to call him rat or A or imp. People call you imp.
Who's a rat? What?
We don't want to call him. He doesn't like the name rat. We discussed this, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We got to think of a shorthand name. Ari, A-A-R-E-R-A. No, I don't know.
We
We
can
gotta
call him
look-
Aaron,
R-A.
and then confuse anybody who's watching.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
We're trying to figure out what to call rational. We call you Leo. We call me Speed. Call Walker. Immutable Destiny. Well, I don't know what the hell we could. We call him Mutable.
We call him Muty.
Beauty. Yeah. Mutatey. Chip Cruncher. We'll call him Chip Cruncher.
Or we just call him Chip. Hey, Chip, how's it going, Chip?
Chip and Dale.
I'm gonna play some more of this. I'm gonna play more garbage.
Garbage.
And Link, it starts to collapse, and they have not been able to make it past that point.
Collapse
In the lab.
in the lab.
Are you saying that we can't synthesize DNA beyond 200 nucleotides in the lab?
We can synthesize DNA that's when we're modifying existing DNA. When we're trying to build it completely from
Okay,
scratch,
well,
we have the homeolinkage problem.
We can
So hold
synthesize
on.
Really sorry, but
Why
you're
is
way
it that
behind
because we fail
this
to do
myself.
things, therefore it can't happen naturally when nature can and has done things humans will probably never be able to do?
Yeah.
Like make an electromagnetic field or a magnetic field as strong as that of a magnetar.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Or
thing is,
move a continent.
Yeah.
why do we need to synthesize the entire strand of DNA from scratch? That would be ridiculous. It would be garbage. There wouldn't be any information of any meaning in there. So
Exactly.
Well, I'm pretty sure. Can we not when we're doing DNA synthesis?
I'm pretty sure that they can. I don't know. I thought it was like there was some problem where if they get to a certain length, they become unstable or something. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I have to
I
look
mean, that's
into
fair.
it. But I mean, that isn't how it happened prebiotically anyway. Like 3.2 billion base pairs didn't just line up randomly, and create humans. Well, of course, they believe it did. Except
Because they don't really understand it.
God had little tiny tweezers, and he took the nucleotides and attached them just in the right sequence. After he spent months on the whiteboard figuring out exactly what he wanted to do, then he went ahead and produced all these little tiny DNA sequences. So that's what Otangelo believes. And I wonder if Otangelo has a paper showing us where we can do that in the lab.
I'm mostly curious why there was no selection prior to DNA replication.
Except that there was.
Yeah, there was.
There was a study done in 2009 by Gerald Joyce and Tracy Lincoln where they developed an RNA enzyme that catalyzes the joining of oligonucleotide substrates and essentially just makes more copies of itself. And it can do this actually pretty fucking rapidly. And genetic recombination can occur between the Watson-Crick pairs in the RNA that can lead to variants of the enzyme that compete for those oligonucleotide substrates.
Kunin, The Logic of Chance, 246. Evolution by Natural Selection. And, oh my God. I think you're wrong about that page, by the way.
What is this?
246.
What?
Kunin. I think he's wrong about that page number.
But the thing that Otangelo is talking about are things that require the chemicals that we see today to be done. That doesn't mean that the chemicals that existed on the prebiotic Earth couldn't undergo specific types of selection.
Oh, hang on a second here. Yeah, I looked at page 246 and I couldn't find it. So let's look again.
Page 246 of what?
Of Kunin's Logic of Chance from 2012.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at page 246. What does he say it says? Evolution by natural selection and drift.
Yeah, genetic drift can't happen without genes.
Wait, how is this contradictory?
I don't know.
The thing that you just wrote, biologists postulate that complex biological molecules first arose through the random physical association of chemicals.
He just randomly picked something out of a 500-page book.
Well, I mean, that's just chemical reactions, right? If you have any solution, the reactions or the molecules are just bumping around and some of them react to each other. And that's essentially a reaction is just a favorable interaction to where they bind to each other.
The ones that are more likely to do that, you're going to see more of those reactions take place, and thus more of whatever end product present.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, literally, somebody with a 5th grade understanding of statistics could see this.
So Angelo, it's not here. Short energetic regions, bare minimum length required for regulatory functions. He's talking about a bacteria, Pelagibacter ubique.
Streptomyces viridochromogenes. It's the only one I know.
Abundant marine photoautotrophs that belong to cyanobacteria reveals features that do not seem to be compatible with streamline. I don't know what the hell he's talking about because I'm in the middle of a chapter. The non-adapted null hypothesis of genome evolution is the name of the chapter. More generally, let's say genome started with population genetic relationships between hosts. Nope, you're wrong, O'Dangelo. It's not on that page. Do better. Find the page number. Give us some context. Tell us what chapter it's in. What chapter is your quote from? Or did you just pull it out of some creationist site?
Probably pull it out of a creationist site.
Yeah, in which case he's not going to be able to even tell me what chapter it's in, probably. So is it chapter 8?
I'm sorry, but most of these people probably don't own and neither own nor have actually read these books. They're just snippets from books that they get from creationist sites like the Discovery Institute and ICR and all that stuff.
End-driven node. Okay, evolution. Yeah, he's full of shit. You're lying, O'Dangelo. Lying. I'll apologize if you tell me where you got it actually, because I'd really like to read what the hell you're talking about, but I can't find it. It's a 500-page book. Give me a break.
Isn't Eugene Koonin he accepts evolutionary theory, I believe.
Yeah.
And abiogenesis. So
he's an abio researcher.
Yeah. So quoting him is proving what exactly?
Well, let me quote from the same book.
Well, it's the appeal to authority thing that they like doing.
Oh yeah.
Let me quote from the same book. The phrase irreducible complexity was coined by Michael Behe, one of the chief advocates of the anti-evolutionary intelligent design concept. In his infamous Darwin's Black Box book, Behe, the biochemical challenge to evolution, to Behe and other ID advocates, the irreducibility of complex biological structures is evidence, even proof of the inevitability of ID. Of course, now here's the important part that Koonin says. Of course, ID is malicious nonsense, but the term irreducible complexity is quite evocative. However, evolutionary biologists might prefer to speak of apparent or purported irreducibility of complex structures. So there you are, Angelo. Same book.
That was a perfect example of what is called quote mining.
Yeah,
whereby somebody pulls only particular quotes from a book, often taken out of context and oftentimes against what the place that the source that the quote comes from goes again. They generally go against whatever that original source is arguing to push a particular narrative. That is called quote mining, and you've just demonstrated that is what Otangelo is doing. He is quote mining a book that doesn't even agree with his conclusions.
And I just said touche and hit him back.
They make it too easy.
I parried.
They really do.
Yeah. Especially when we have the goddamn book, and I'm wondering if he actually does. Page 248. He got the wrong page. I see. Thank you, Otangelo. It's good to get the right page because then we can track you. Should I play a little Maddox while I'm looking?
Yeah.
For it.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Many times. And I'm sorry, you're just factually incorrect on that. But, I mean, is there another thing you want to jump into, maybe? You seemed concerned about protein folding. And
wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. No. You just said he was factually incorrect about something. Then correct him. You don't get to just ad hominem his argument and then say,
wait. How is that ad hominem?
Getting ahead
That's
over
not
him,
at all.
and-
But it's Smokey. He doesn't know anything about anything.
No, he likes throwing out ad hominem as he calls people a trash clown.
And atrocious.
Well, that's not technically an ad hominem.
This is back when Smokey and LPP were still boyfriend and boyfriend.
Yeah.
Address his argument.
Okay. How would you like me to do that?
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Did give me a second here. Just hold on a second.
Okay, I'm holding.
Is Otangelo saying that nucleotides could not have been developed abiogenetically?
I think so.
Is that what he's
Not
saying?
have evolved biologically. Moderate-sized polynucleotides. Why not? Why couldn't they have evolved? Could not have evolved biologically.
And must have emerged abiogenically.
That sentence indicates that he doesn't quite understand what we're talking about with abiogenesis. So he's pushing back, I think, on Demeter, saying that Demeter's model has Darwinian evolution at a very early stage with his small peptide stabilized nucleotides, small nucleotides, or small polynucleotides. Anyway.
I just gave an example of a study that showed Darwinian selection occurring in RNA enzymes as a result of genetic recombination occurring in the Watson-Crick pairs, providing variants of that enzyme that compete with each other for the oligonucleotide substrates they utilize for their amplification. I can cite that study from numerous different journals as well. It was published in numerous different journals. Well, I think it was originally published in the journal Science, and then obviously generally many other journals either take it and put it in theirs, or sometimes the people will publish it in numerous different journals.
I don't know who this James W. person is, but I do appreciate his quoting of Seuss.
Yeah, I love it. Only comedically. Okay, what the hell? I still can't find this quote. Features. Why don't you just tell me what chapter it's in, Otangelo, and then maybe we can home in. Are you telling me, Otangelo?
Anybody else notice that he hinted at his continued black swan fallacy? He said, so no intelligence is more capable than intelligence to make blueprints, machines, and factories, LOL. So let me ask you a quick question, Otangelo. Have we ever observed anything but intelligence make those things? I don't know how long it's going to take him to respond. I don't even know if he will. But the point is that just because we haven't seen an intelligent something that's not intelligent do it doesn't mean they can't. And even as a naturalist, I always say I'm a naturalist, but I can't verify that is the case. There always could be something that comes along that could be verified as supernatural, though I think it would be exhaustively hard to do so, because the minute you explain it, in what way is it supernatural?
Oh, it's not on page 248.
Interesting.
I don't know. Tell me what chapter it's in. Among self-replicating molecules. Let's see. It's done. No, that's not a chapter. He's making another claim, right? I'm not sure. Well, maybe I'll read the whole fucking chapter and see what happens. Maybe I can find this quote. Anyway. So much for your quotes, Otangelo. Okay, did you guys forget the foreskin word, or did you decide not to use it anymore?
I just haven't been using it.
Well, use it, because I'm a simple creature. Okay.
Be a simple kind of man.
There you go.
Be something.
Use my fucking words.
Understand.
Goodbye, Leo.
You said what he just said was inaccurate and wrong. I expect you to be able to elaborate, unless you're just trying to ad hominem the argument to get away from it without looking like you can't answer it. So I would appreciate you answering his argument instead of just attacking it.
So if I give you a publication in which I've synthesized DNA multiple kilobases in length, would that suffice?
Sure.
100% from scratch.
What the fuck?
Let's see that from the paper.
100% from scratch.
Oh, okay. What kind of idiots are we dealing with?
Well, what does he mean by 100% from scratch? Does he mean like from the atoms? Like if you just have like nitrogen, carbon, oxygen, and like hydrogen just chilling in a solution?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know what he means by that. Or does he mean like just hydrogen? You know, chilling in the center of a star? Maybe, I don't know. Or maybe he just means like, you know, fucking. What did we have prior to hydrogen? Plasma. Maybe just plasma. I don't know. God, what an idiot.
As in from atomic level, or
you had free floating nucleotides, and you synthesized
free floating
kilobase DNA strands.
Okay. Without an existing template?
Without an existing template, and without any enzymes or any of the transcription components.
So we've extended that from a PCR environment to an abiotic.
Have you done it without any of those components?
Environment. Well, not without the components required to do the reaction.
Okay.
So I withdraw my comment.
So thank you for
you
trying
were,
to BS your way through this and try to act like I didn't know what the hell I was talking about and claim that you have done this and solved this problem when you're literally full of shit.
You're correct. Bro. If you don't have the ingredients to make the cake, you'll never.
So what is abiogenesis, buddy? This is the whole point. If you don't have those factors, then you are working from scratch, correct?
Well, I'm working from.
You're trying to work like it would be from prebiotic soup, right?
Sure. Okay,
so ultimately what we have gone around and danced around for the last 15 minutes is that you have not done what you claimed you have done in terms of a direct comparison to the prebiotic soup, because you're not being able to do it without the factors that I delineated as being requirements in order for life to exist, which you then dismissed.
What the fuck?
So now we've eventually come back around to the reality that A, I was not full of shit. B, you were, and you were trying to completely issue a facade to present that I didn't know what I was talking about because you're Mr. Expert. But since
what claim did Doc make early on? I never heard him. I didn't hear him claim that he had solved abiogenesis.
He didn't.
No.
You got to remember, Lil Peepee is not listening to understand. He's listening to respond.
Yeah.
You are the expert, supposedly. You knew full well that you were full of crap because I was directly asking you these questions.
Again, if you don't have the ingredients to make a cake, you'll never make a cake. And, yeah, I was incorrect in what I said, and I hope you accept my apology for that.
Okay, so now we're going back to Ribus.
But I never figured out what he said that was incorrect. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think he was just trying to, like, placate down and get on with the conversation.
Why does Otangelo
Right,
keep
so we're
going
now-
on about how abiogenesis didn't, or that evolution didn't exist when abiogenesis was happening, when none of the literature suggests that it did?
Well, no, Demeter's been beating him with this. That basically, Demeter's model has Darwinian selection at a molecular level and is very, very tiny.
I don't think that Otangelo understands that Darwinian selection is a driver of evolution. It isn't synonymous with evolution.
Well, Sal is hiding behind the.
I don't know. I don't know if we should let this guy in here or not. He's
Sal. Hey, Sal. How's
You already did.
Why would you not let Sal in
dangerous.
here, dude? Sal's awesome. I mean, even though I would probably disagree with Sal on some things, Sal is just a really awesome guy.
But
I think I would disagree with Sal on more than some things. But yeah, he's a nice dude. I like him.
Thanks for the kind words, gentlemen. And
but Sal is a creationist.
So
and it's Saturday Night at the Atheist.
Is Immutable still here? Is he gone? I don't see him, his icon.
I don't know. He must have disappeared.
He's probably choking on a chip.
Good.
And he decided not to do that on live. He decided not to do it live.
He didn't want his death to be broadcast.
Right.
Can you give me a highlighted comment?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me
so what up, Sal? Are you going to defend
I came out to exchange emails with James, and then also Speed of Sound said that he was going to promote my channel. And also how I can reciprocate. So I'll provide links. And then since Theophilus, you're asking about the quantum mechanics meeting, we actually had one with Speed.
Hold on. Leo Phileas. Or you could just call me Leo.
I apologize. I didn't mean any offense, Leo.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're not the first one, and you won't be the last.
Yeah, I've definitely heard it before.
Okay, so here is a link in chat to Sal's Evidence and Reasons.
I subscribe to his Pascal Academy, I think it is. I need to subscribe to the other one. Where's the link?
Let me. What was happening was I'm going to provide it in private chat.
Oh, okay, awesome.
And then because I can't put it in the.
No, I put it in.
Because I'm not a mod, I can't put it in the regular chat.
Wait. Nothing
Nothing
against Otangelo, because Otangelo is actually a pretty chill dude for the most part. Yeah. But why is he a mod and Sal isn't? I'm sorry,
probably
I have to ask that question.
Well, probably just because Otangelo's interaction. He's been in more calls and
that is true. And I'm not saying that Otangelo shouldn't be a mod, because Otangelo's
Otangelo's chill as well.
Yeah, he's chill. I mean, he's a good guy. Disagree with him on some things.
He's not going to use his mod to start banning people.
No, that's not Otangelo. Otangelo's not a smoky. We know that.
Sal, I just put you in the description of this video also. And I told people they have to subscribe.
Oh, thank you. It's very kind. And however I can reciprocate. So that was our deal. And,
what was this about the quantum mechanics talk?
On Friday, I had a talk with Speed of Sound on quantum mechanics. And he had helped me immensely. I had a feeling that even though he said he didn't feel he could contribute a lot, I felt just in the first discussion would be very helpful, and I can provide a link to that for you, whatever it means. And let me see if I can find it. So I gave an email to James W., if you see that in the private chat, and then I gave a link to my Evidence and Reasons.
Okay.
So
I got to give you. I got to make you a mod.
It's very kind of you. Thank you.
Because so
finally.
Oh, I already put a link in for Evidence and Reasons in chat, in public chat and the description, but I will put it in here again. So
thank you.
Okay.
And it sounds like you and Immutable are going to be having a chat this coming Friday.
I think.
Yes, it's going to be on. It's really purely technical. We're not going to really touch on any of the more esoteric, but just for your benefit, I'm going to show you I'm going to also put a link. Wait, I'm a mod now?
Yeah.
Oh, you made it.
So that means I can. Well, anyway.
Yeah, you can put it in here.
I'm going to throw it in the chat. I actually have to
That means
I
you
have
could
to open
block
like
it.
a window or something to
Cell.
Let
You
me
could
try my
block
new-
Otangelo.
Let me try
No,
my new mod power somewhere.
So
Magic.
just time out Otangelo.
That's not nice.
Well, we're going to blame you, Sal, if Otangelo gets timed out by somebody. We're going to
Yeah.
say it was you.
It was Sal.
That's the only reason we have creationists in on Saturday night at the Atheist, so we can like shift all the blame.
Well, maybe I could host a show, Speed of Sound, where you can talk about what was it, Alcoholics Anonymous or something?
Oh yes.
And I'm not, I remember that was like the one thing I felt that we could do a public service, because I'm really not into mudslinging. I'm getting kind of tired of the fighting, because I want to do something constructive. Like I'd like to learn, because all of my education is just like being forgotten. It's kind of atrophying,
right?
And I kind of don't like that. And unfortunately, I kind of do enjoy the entertainment and drama, and that's not good, because I really ought to be more of a nerd.
I'm going to have a guy on who, let's say, an atheist alcoholic who disagrees with the 12-step programs. I am going to have him. I got to send him an email. I forgot, but somebody found him on Twitter. Who the hell was it? I forget who it was. Anyway, so we are going to be doing a little bit on.
I need to ask a quick question.
What?
So Sal, might I join you in Immutable this coming Friday, or is that strictly you two?
Oh no, you can join. Everyone can join. This will be.
Is this where we're going over broadcat notation and other aspects of more of the math?
I have this book here, and it's been so long since I worked with this stuff, and I'm just like so clueless now. And it's embarrassing how much I've forgotten.
It happens.
I think the way I learn things now is to make room in my head for new learning, I have to forget old things, which is kind of bad. So
actually, that isn't quite how it works. It's just that retrieval.
That's good news.
More difficult. Retrieval becomes more difficult as you age and you fill up your networks, but the information is still out there. It's still there. You just got to find the right way to retrieve it.
Yes.
Information.
It's a good thing that brilliant.org, Brilliant, the app. I don't know if you've heard of it, Sal. It's actually a really, really good app. They have.
Let me tell you.
Let me find it here. They have a section.
Let me tell you a thing about that.
Shut up. I'm talking. Silence. Silence. Be quiet.
Oh, I'm going to
They have a section.
I muted them.
Quantum objects. In quantum objects, mathematical foundations, it's bras and kets. I might have to run through this course before we start, just to brush myself up, because I understand a little bit of broadcat notation, but I don't understand it rigorously, so to speak. So I might have to dive into this, because it looks like it'd be a lot of fun, actually.
I did not comprehend it, and I went through an entire class. And the reason for that is there are three big schools of thought with quantum mechanics, and each one still has their strengths. There's the Schrodinger school, the Heisenberg school, and Dirac is kind of above both. And I studied mostly the Schrodinger school. So we didn't use hardly any of the broadcat notations. It was all integrals, just integral to death. And Speed of Sound was quite kind enough to find a solutions manual to my textbook for all the homework problems. And I said, I knew if I talked to this guy, he's going to fix me up good. And he did. And if you look at the homework solutions, there's just like no broadcat notation.
Yeah.
And so it really was specialized for chemistry, which was fine, because that's a great application for quantum mechanics. So, but the sad thing is there was hardly any broadcat notation, and the professor never tested it on us.
Wow.
He was just like, okay, I'm going to just integral you to death. And goodness, I mean, it was just pages. So if you look at the solutions manual, maybe Speed will share it with you, or I will. You'll see what I mean. There was hardly any broadcat notation in it.
Yeah, I think the book that I have is by Leonard Susskind. I think he does touch on broadcat notation in there. I'm going to have to go through it and see.
Well, I think if you have the ket, you already know the bra, because it's the complex conjugate, and it is a row vector, whereas the ket is a column vector.
Yes.
And if you multiply them together, I think, and add them up, you'll end up with 1. So
yes, you should end up with 1. Yes,
you should. I think, but I would like to do a mathematical. I'd like to do a real simple thing on like rolling dice, and actually work out the math of that. Of course, that's not those aren't complex numbers. Those are just real numbers. But anyway.
But I mean, if you really wanted to, you could find a way to make them complex. I mean,
but Brockhead is just a shorthand way to represent huge matrices that you don't want to keep writing out. Yeah. So I think that's why they did it.
Are you planning on touching on the density matrix at all, Sal? Or are you?
I wasn't aware of this. I mean, there's, and I just wanted to say, anything's game for what we want to learn, and. I'm just going to see where it goes, because I think I would like to relearn a lot of this. And then also because it also gives insight a little bit into chemistry. And since I do biophysics research, I really need to know. It's kind of embarrassing not to know quantum mechanics if I'm doing biophysics research. So, I mean, all I could say is I had the class. I've not had to use it up until now, but it's still kind of pathetic. I've let all that atrophy. So we'll just see where the discussion goes. I was thinking of actually having teaching a course on this, not because I know it, but one way to really learn something is to teach it. 100%. So if I start making little videos and say, okay, this is how I solved this homework problem, or this is where I screwed up, and then I looked at the solutions manual, and it's like, oh, I did, this is the mistake I made. Don't make it. And this is the reason why. I think that'd be very beneficial for me, just from a personal standpoint. And then it's videos that are just released into the public sphere, and who knows whether it'll build up my channel. So those are my goals. And all this internet war with Smokey, I visited his channel and we made peace. I just said, hey, happy Thanksgiving. And the way I do business is I'm not trying to say anyone else should do it. And that was about as far as we could go, and we were on cordial terms. But so you know how it is when people are in your family or your tribe. It's like, oh man, sometimes they say stuff you wish they wouldn't say, but I can't control them. But they're family, so that's kind of where I'm at.
Yep.
We buried Smokey on the Rages channel last night. Mm-hmm. We basically we're forgetting that he exists because he's just too problematic and kind of boring. He's a little boring. So,
well, anyway, I'm going to leave the studio. Speed us out. I just wanted to thank you again for really helping me out Friday.
Okay,
that talk. That was a huge help, because I could be trying to do those homework problems again, and all I have is my notebook.
Yeah,
and it's like, yes, those are my solutions, and they're kind of, I don't know that they're the best. I mean, they got the right, grade, but
yeah, the only thing I think is that solutions manual is from the 4th edition.
I think it's second,
third.
In any case, I think I could still learn from it.
Okay.
So, guys, I just wanted to thank you for your time, and
no problem.
And however I could promote your channel, speed us out to reciprocate. Just wanted to say thanks.
By the way, Sal, I would like to attend next Friday too. So at least
that would be so much fucking fun. God, it's
okay.
Anyway,
alrighty,
be a really good time.
All right, guys.
Yeah, peace out. That's going to be a big brain stream on Friday.
Well, take care, guys, and thank you again, Speed.
Goodbye.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Yep. Nice seeing you, James, etc. And Walking Fish.
Who's James?
James W, I believe, is who he's talking about.
Yeah, but who is that
in the chat? It's James. His last name starts with a W, I presume.
Yeah, it's obviously James.
I did have a question, Speed, because I know bracket notation relates to matrices a little bit. It's complex conjugate, correct? Not the conjugate transpose of a matrix.
The complex conjugate.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's a real matrix.
and I
don't know. I don't know what the significance of that is.
Well, the complex conjugate is just a reverse of the sign of a complex number. So like A plus BI, its complex conjugate would be A minus BI.
Yeah, the only thing I can imagine is that the two things together would basically be a probability of 1 if you multiply them.
Yes,
but
yes, because I do know that because you'll work with kets generally in some quantum mechanics prior to really learning the minutia of bra ket notation, because the ket is where all the information about that the state or the system should be contained.
Yeah, and that's a Hilbert space.
Yes, and then this is why I want to be in that stream, because I want, guys, I know Immutable just is fucking brilliant when it comes to math, and I want to know more the mathematical relation of the bra to the ket. I know that in terms of linear algebra, the bra, I believe, is a linear functional. It's a linear map, and then the ket is a vector space, I believe.
Yeah,
and I think
Hilbert space.
Yeah, the complex Hilbert space, or a complex vector space, or Hilbert space, and they're related, I think, in the way that the bra takes the ket and maps it, or I guess that the technical term be maps it to a real number in a complex plane.
Yeah. Anyway, I'd like to know more about it, and I'll try to do a little homework between now and then.
Oh, I definitely will need to do some homework.
Because what I want to see is like some worked out example with using bra ket notation. Mm-hmm. Also, Penrose in the Road to Reality, he explains Hilbert's brave spaces rather well.
Yeah, the best explanation for a Hilbert space I got was from none other than Sean Carroll. A Hilbert space is the space of all possible wave functions.
Okay.
So any way that you could organize a wave function, if you just not really add them all up, but put them all together, that type of coordinate space would be a Hilbert space. It can have as many dimensions as you want, from 1 to infinity.
Confusingly, there's also a Hubert space.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget what the hell a Hubert space is.
One thing I want to learn about relativistic quantum mechanics, because in special relativity you utilize Minkowski spaces, and I want to know if Hilbert spaces work similar to Minkowski spaces.
Yeah.
But I think one of the problems with quantum mechanics and general relativity is that Hilbert spaces, I might be right, I think that to an extent you can curve their geometry, but generally speaking, the geometry of a Hilbert space is static, whereas in general relativity, the manifolds that you work with, I believe they're a type of Riemannian, or either a type of Riemannian or pseudo-Riemannian manifold. They're not static. They can be curved and everything naturally, because that's what general relativity is. And I think that mathematically you cannot do that with the types of spaces that you're using to define the vectors that are wave functions. So or the vectors that represent wave functions, or states of wave functions. So you can't mathematically combine those two theories, at least yet. We don't know how to do it, but that's probably a really, really overly simplistic and probably butchered explanation of that problem. And David said he won't be able to come in.
It hasn't analyzed it. Oh, I don't actually. Yeah, the impact on our everyday common lives. I mean, theory of evolution. Well, actually, it does have an impact if you think about it. If you extend it and you start thinking about what you are, if you really want to know what you are, and you start looking at the theory of evolution, you get a rather Zen idea about what you are, and you become less attached to your own life, I think. So I think theory of evolution has had an impact on my life. Let's see what. Anyway, I'm talking in no direction. Oh, what are we doing? What up?
Typing to somebody.
What up, Walker?
Oh, I was just eating chips.
What?
I'm sorry.
We couldn't hear you eat chips.
I know. It's because I mute myself like a good boy.
Yeah.
Fucking, I like you. I like you, man.
I did not like how Sal said he no longer believes in the Big Bang.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah, that was.
Yes, he listed.
Well, he is a young earther.
Yeah, he listed the reasons that he became a young earther the other day, and they were basically like 4 or 5 problems in cosmology. And it's like, yeah, there are problems in cosmology. You know, we're trying to deal with that whole dark matter bullshit, you know, and there's a lot we don't know. Okay, the academic impact that evolution had on subjects like moral. I think it has a hell of an impact on moral philosophy.
I think evolutionary psychology is pretty bullshit.
I do not. I am still a advocate of evolutionary psychology, just not the way Who the hell is it? Tubi and who's the other one? Is it Tubi? Cosmetics.
What kind of name is Tubi?
Tubi. That's actually his name. Tubi and Cosmetics. I think they were great evolutionary psychologists, and they just went too far.
To be or not to be.
Tubi and Cosmetics. Tubi.
Are we gonna watch this Lil PP video?
You wanna?
I'm
Sure.
down. Yeah.
Oh, we got some.
It's a David. Hiya, David.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, he didn't
Welcome.
come in. I guess he lied to me.
Yep, I was just gonna come in for a few minutes and say hello.
I'm
But
gonna start calling you Jason Liar nowadays.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna come in, but then I decided just to come in for a few minutes.
Right on. You know, if this highlighted comment wasn't there, I could see your
Somebody told me that you wanted to do something or go over something, and I can't remember.
abio.
Yeah, abiogenesis.
It was abio. Okay, we've been
Who are you going to be debating, or do you just want to learn it to learn it?
Just learning it to learn it, but I'm sure it'll come up in my discussion with Matt Slick.
Oh, sure. Yeah, probably.
You're going to talk to Matt Slick? Oh my God.
Good old Slick Matt Slick.
Yeah, he's too slick for me.
There's a reason they call him Slick.
Well, before you guys get into that, unfortunately I have to go because my
Pussy.
battery's dying and it's getting late. So
Your battery's a
thanks
pussy.
for having me on.
Okay. Well,
Yep.
thanks for stopping in.
Yep. I will be right back.
I have a book for you. I have a book for you if you want a really good technical book. The Origin and Nature of Life on Earth.
Who is this directed to?
To David.
Yeah, that'll be fascinating.
All of you. Origin and Nature of Life on Earth. I'm typing it into the chat. If I can fucking figure out how to spell Earth. How do you spell Earth? Smith and Morowitz. It's a wonderful book. Hopefully you can find a copy online.
Okay, yeah, I see it. Gia's Life on Earth, The Emergence of the Fourth Geosphere, first edition.
Yeah, it's an amazing book. It's just packed with information on abiogenesis. Just tons of stuff. And it's very technical, very cool.
Yeah.
The architecture and evolution of metabolic substrates, carbon fixation, nitrogen fixation, just all sorts of prebiotic complexes, and it's just really cool. The order in genetic code, which is what
Someone else is here?
He's back.
That was fast. Oh,
You're back already.
fast.
Oh,
Andrew?
sorry.
Did
Were
you
you
not-
saying something, Speed? Or
Brad?
is that directed at me?
Oh no, it was yeah. In general, I just posted a book which is really good.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, take a look at the chat. So
Okay. Well, I don't see anything in the chat.
it is The Origin and Nature. I'll show you. It's that one by Smith and Morowitz.
Okay.
It's a highly technical book. Has a ton of stuff on abiogenesis. And
Okay.
it was written. When was it written? I got this from Nestle. Recommended this book to me, and I'm surprised that I had never seen it before. It is 2016, so reprinted 2018. So it's a fairly new book and packed full. If you want to start debating on abiogenesis, you know how they like to cherry pick.
Yeah.
We can do our own little cherry picking. There's a lot of cherries in here.
Yep. And one of the biggest things that I see, one of the strong fallacies is the fallacy of incredulity. I can't see how this happened, therefore
I
God.
know, or we don't know how it happens. Therefore, God.
That pretty much
We don't.
forms the basis of their entire worldview.
Yes.
I don't know.
I gotta write on the front of my book. I always write the year on the front of my books.
Okay. Now, everyone, have a good
Okay.
weekend.
Yep. Good night.
By the way, Leo, did you still want to finish the Dr. Liger video
Yes.
on my channel?
Yeah, absolutely.
When do you want to do that?
What works for you?
I don't know. I have to see what's going on tomorrow, or sometime this week. But I do want to practice with you guys for my upcoming discussion with Matt Slick. He seems to use the same arguments in every debate.
He does.
the tag, morality.
He's a Darth Dawkins light. He's a.
Can you link me a good debate, David, that I can
his
watch?
discussion with T-Jump would be a good one to watch.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, my personal favorite was the one he did with Dan Barker.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
What are you debating him on? Like, what's the topic?
Just open discussion, kind of naturalism, atheism, and all that, and all of that type of fun stuff.
The one piece of advice I could give you, and this is relevant if you ever have a discussion with any pre-supper, is, and some of them might deny it, but what their belief, most of them actually wouldn't, but some of them might. Their belief is essentially that humans cannot be rational, they cannot reason, they cannot have logic, they cannot really know things without God as the foundation for that.
Right, exactly.
And so all you need to ask them is, well, how do you know that? And you can't say you know it because of God, because then you're committing textbook commission of the fallacy of circular reasoning. So how do you know that God is necessary for us to know anything? You would have to admit that that's at least one thing that we can know without God, which then opens the door to knowing other things without needing God.
Yeah, and that further, I guess that's also a begging the question fallacy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What the hell? Okay, I'm going to put no directions in here.
Let's see here. He uses logic. He uses tag, morality.
I just posted a link to that debate, by the way.
The one with T-Jump?
Slick and Parker.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Saitan Bruggencade is one I want to debate, just because I want to see his reaction when I ask that question. Well, you can't know anything without God. How do you know that? Well, God told me. Oh, so you're begging the question, then you're just circular reasoning.
No, you're just presupposing his worldview.
Who said that?
Right, and really,
I said that. Like, what's the Saitan's whole shtick is that he just comes in and says that you can't have a complete and consistent worldview without presupposing the foundations of his worldview, and so your worldview is parasitic upon his.
Without fun.
And you have to prove that your worldview is not.
I would just ask him, well, how do you know that?
And
he do the same thing that he does.
You just say because it's been revealed to me, such that I know.
And I would say, well, how do you know it was revealed to you? How do you know that might not have been a lie by Satan?
Because it was revealed to him by God.
Yeah.
Are you saying that that an omnipotent deity can't do such a thing?
Yeah, that sounds like Saitan. At first, I thought I was talking with him. I'm just joking.
Well, I am Canadian, so. I'm a different brand of Canadian. If Saitan ever came out my neck of the woods, he'd probably just get punched in the throat.
Have you ever had a discussion with him or a talk?
Yes.
What about Darth Dawkins?
Oh yeah, Darth Dawkins fucking hates me.
Darth Dawkins. I want to have a discussion with him just because
I'm one of the people that he's threatened. He's full on threatened to kill before. It's fun.
Jesus.
How come
I basically got him to contradict himself, and he fell into the trap of having to say, like, we were arguing about like which theory of time is correct, and he was adamant that presentism was true because God exists, and just walked him down a circle to where effectively he was saying that because God is all knowing and God is outside time and space, everything is in accordance with a privileged frame of reference, which is God's frame of reference. But then he went on to describe God's frame of reference as a kind of B-theorist reference, which is to say that time is static. And so I said, okay, so time isn't static because there's a privileged frame of reference, which is God's frame of reference. He goes, yeah. And God's frame of reference is a B-theorist kind of reference. So B theory is false because A theory is true, but it's only true because B theory is true.
Yeah, when you use Darth's own words against him, he just freaks out. One of my most favorite discussions that I saw with him and somebody else with it was when he had a discussion with Shannon Q. Oh God, that was brilliant. I think Snake was right. We did pretty good job against him as well.
Yep.
Like, I just think he has a thing against Canadians at this point.
It wouldn't surprise me. He is a character.
Cell has a wrench, so now he can fix us.
Oh shit! Everybody, watch out! We're all going to get banned. Oh no!
Cell's going to ban us all because we're nasty.
I have the first chat moderator on my channel. Anybody want to guess who it is? No, it's not Amelia Clark.
That was my guess. Okay, who is it?
David.
Interesting. I did not see that yet.
Well,
because his name. Well, I was gonna make Speed one, but I couldn't. His name didn't pop up for me when I was watching back my live stream, even though he was there and he typed in the chat, and I was like, "Where the fuck is his name at?" So I can.
Somebody must have banned me. Maybe David banned me.
Maybe so. Maybe David's like, "No, there shall be no other mods but me."
Yeah.
In the beginning, David created the chat room.
He is the one true David.
So what's this? Who's debating Matt Slick, and what exactly is the subject of the debate?
David is. What is the subject, David?
So basically, naturalism, theism, what model best explains reality? I guess would be a good summary of it.
Yeah, he's gonna pre-sup all over you.
Why?
Why
you.
Why is this? He's gonna why back to
No, why that debate topic?
I think that's a good one.
Yes,
I don't, because someone in the audience can go neither.
Well, yeah, but David won't be
normally you
debating
would want something to be a yes/no proposition, such that if your opponent concedes a point, you've won the debate. Because you could, like, throughout that debate, you could actually, like, concede your position, say, you know what, naturalism isn't a fit theory to actually describe reality, but that doesn't mean theism is true. Like dualism, idealism, all these other positions, Russellian monism, those don't necessitate the existence of a god. So even if naturalism is false, that doesn't mean theism is true.
Yeah.
It's true.
So what about reality does naturalism not describe?
Anything that we don't yet have an explanation for, but that doesn't mean that it's not an operating mechanistic aspect of the natural world. It just means we don't know how to describe it, if we've even identified it.
Well, the first problem is just in distinguishing naturalism from any other position, like in an actual meaningful way. Like, of all that you're going to say is that, like, one proposed definition of naturalism is that everything that exists is fundamentally under the purview of physics. That if you had a complete physics, everything that could be explained would be explained, and physicists could just kind of like lay down and stare at their navels and they'd have nothing else to do.
Okay, but can't you be a naturalist and be agnostic about everything?
No, you could.
Yeah.
The problem is if you're talking about naturalism specifically, and if you define it in that term, like, you don't know what that kind of ideal physics would look like or what it would entail.
Yeah.
Like, if you stop and you think of some of this old Star Trek episodes that they played around with, where you have these non-corporeal entities that still would be described in the Star Trek universe as physical beings, like the Q, even though they're outside of time and space, they still have their own particular rules and regularities that they adhere by. They have their own little physics, but an ideal physics could explain that. But at that point, it just sounds like you're just saying that if something is physical, it just means that you have an explanation for it.
But I mean, naturalism has to allow for that because we don't understand where the universe came from or what kind of a thing.
The universe didn't come from anywhere or anything.
Well, not like that. I'm sorry I stated it that way. But anyway, the universe is embedded in some of the structure that we don't understand, some of the mathematical structure, and naturalism would obviously extend to that. So, I mean, we're not... The only thing that naturalism would reject is human-like magic, like magical things, like I think something and it pops up and starts to exist,
like gods,
or God, or a god.
That goes back to like the Q example. Is that the Q are still technically physical beings in the Star Trek universe?
Yeah.
And if there were some being that existed in our universe or just outside of it that you could in turn explain by some special set of regularities that we would call laws, and it could be accountable by some ideal physics, they're still natural. And at that point, natural just seems to be a term for whatever exists.
Right.
I think that is what natural means. That's why I think the whole concept of supernatural is incoherent, because anything that can't be explained can't ever be verified and shouldn't be assumed to exist thereby.
I have a raccoon attack. I'll be back in a minute.
Oh, Jesus. You got to feed the raccoons, all the hot dogs. He should have played this video before he went. Walker, do you have the ability to play this video?
No, because he's screen sharing it.
Oh, well, can you like stop his screen share and then you screen share the video?
Sure. Is there like a particular thing you want to watch?
Well, no,
like,
I just was wanting him. I mean, I guess we don't have to. I was just. He should have played the video before.
He's usually not gone for super long.
Yeah, no, he's not.
He just sort of throws a can of dog food and he's chilling.
I want to hear more of Lil Peepee's terrible argumentation.
Lil Peepee.
Oh, man.
Are people still calling him that now?
I didn't know anybody else was calling him that. Damn it!
Yeah, I thought I was being creative.
Yeah, I thought I created that one. I guess not.
I guess it's pretty obvious.
I guess if we both independently created it, then it's not very creative of a name.
He's a little peepee with big cojones.
No. He's not little peepee. It's Lil Peepee.
Lil Peepee.
Like,
and he's got
like Lil Wayne.
Say L Peepee. Like
he's got large cojones. Right?
Yeah, but then that's just the peepee because L is Spanish for the. He's not just the peepee. I mean, he is a dick, but he's Lil Peepee.
He's a dick, but not much of a dick.
It's a good, yeah. There you go. It's a good way to put it.
There's not much dick there. Okay, here we go. Playing video. Am I? No.
Are you?
Wrong button.
Discovering that there's like what appears to be nervous system-esque circuitry in them, and they're relevant to protein synthesis.
Which kind of ribosome and which subunits are we talking about, or just ribosomes generally?
Well, in this context, ribosomes in general. I was reading a paper on this last night about how they're looking at the
how many papers was he reading last night?
Ribosomes being purely mechanistic systems into having significantly more comprehensive information processing components in the circuitry. And to me, when you start...
Did he say anything there? I mean, honestly.
No, I do still want to know. How many papers did he read last night?
Yeah, he was reading papers.
Yeah, like what kind of papers? Like, you know, I can read papers.
Probably divorce
Just open
papers.
up a book and you're reading papers. I mean...
He was reading his divorce papers.
He wasn't reading anything. He was just staring at his old GoFundMe.
Yeah. Oh, my GoFundMe. It makes me so sad.
Hashtag John Maddox is a grifter.
The last book he read was The
Think about
Secret.
that,
And he thinks that if he can just stare at his GoFundMe long enough, Matt Dillahunty will debate him.
He will debate him.
Oh, fuck. That was
One day Matt will find him worthy.
No, probably not. Oh, man.
He was going on about that last night or the night before. Again, he was still talking about his whole butthurt over Dillahunty.
I know he's never going to get over that.
No, he isn't.
Because he still doesn't understand what was wrong with that GoFundMe.
Right.
Probably because he doesn't think there was anything wrong with it.
Well, it's probably like you read it, and this is clearly somebody who doesn't actually know how to research a goddamn thing.
Yeah.
And the way he talked about Matt, it was like him. It was like a fucking scene out of some fantasy movie or something. You know, Anakin and Obi-Wan, that sort of thing. That's how they think. Something wrong with these people.
Obi-Wan Ton.
Okay.
I mean, they're all about refuting and debunking, and nobody that does science actually talks like that. I don't
exactly.
I've never seen that in papers, except for theirs. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and play. How about that, guys?
Go ahead.
You're now having, in the abiogenesis argument, you're now having to conclude that it's somehow an extremely complicated 3D printing factory on the molecular level to form itself.
Well,
wait, what? No.
Are polypeptides 3D by definition, or do they fold as a function of
3D printer?
What is the end result of the linear connection of amino acids. If it's done correctly, it folds into a 3D structure, right?
In certain environments, yeah.
Yeah, and then there are other instances, there's chaperone proteins that come along and do additional modifications and etc. Right? But the end result is a 3D structure, correct?
Not quite like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
how is that any different than a 3D printer?
Because it's not printing something.
So the end result of 3D is taking a linear. It's taking a linear information data set, just like you do in 3D printing, and then turning it into a 3D output.
But it's taking something that's 3D, using other 3D materials and making something else that's 3D.
Really cool that way.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Anyway, guys, I'm going to head on out.
Okay, David.
And the improbabilities of it happening
hey, Leo,
by chance get pretty nuts.
I can't hear you because Speed won't pause the video.
In the absence of select.
Oh, I didn't.
Sorry. Hey, Leo, I'll hit you up on Twitter about tomorrow to see if we can do anything.
Sounds good.
All right. Bye, guys.
Good night, David.
Peace out.
Sure. But if something works and can reproduce itself, it will tend to proliferate.
Okay. Yeah. So if it reproduces itself and it has all the different components that are required for the reproduction, then maybe. But then you then have to get into the whole aspect of if you don't have the mRNA, how does the ribosome work?
Again,
not in your hypothetical, not in your hypothetical world. In the real world, in the real world, does a ribosome?
Okay. Can you pause right here because this is something
an mRNA?
You mean
really
foreskin?
Said is that and you'll see this a lot with creationists and conservatives that they can't work with hypotheticals. And the reason for this is because hypotheticals are a really, really, really good way of peeling back layers and revealing the underlying opinions, assumptions, beliefs that somebody has. They're a good way of determining what somebody is, who they are, what they believe, the ways in which they can justify something, whether they can, what's the word I'm looking for, project their logic into particular scenarios to figure out what would occur in those scenarios under that logic. So when people don't like hypotheticals, it's because they know they have a really, really shitty take that can't be properly defended. This is why you see it frequently with conservatives and creationists. Seemingly, that seems to be a Venn diagram that's just one big ass fucking circle. I have to be honest, I've never met anybody that's a creationist that's left wing. Not once, not ever. And I have met a lot of creationists.
This whole group of relatives that I have up north, they're denying COVID. I mean, really badly. And they're also denying that Trump lost the election. And it goes together, and they're also extremely religious. But I mean, they believe in talking snakes and zombie Jesus, talking donkeys. But they don't believe. But their skepticism kicks in when somebody tries to tell them that there's a virus that's killing people. It's just like, what in the fuck is wrong with these people? Like, why would you only engage your skepticism when you got to the virus, you know? It's like, oh my God.
Well, that has to do with the type of claim that they're assessing, doesn't it?
Well, what the hell? I mean, they're like really skeptical when it comes to COVID and and what the news is telling them, but they're not at all skeptical when they read the Bible. I don't get it.
Well, yeah, because if you've been raised in a particular religion for a long time, and especially if you just think like what's happened in the last 20-some years, in terms of creationism and public domain, like there's a massive lawsuit, doesn't go their way. There's a series of debates, doesn't go their way. Whole new movement starts, dies out, and all the while, the media, the internet, everybody is just shitting on them and telling them that they're wrong. And people just retreat back into the community that they find themselves more familiar with. And as a result of that, becomes a little echo chamber. And so you begin to mistrust these different medias of information that you could get. So when somebody comes along and seems like they're going against the mainstream and they're saying things that seem to jive with your worldview, they're going to appear more trustworthy.
Yeah, but now the virus has gotten to the point where before it was kind of hard to believe in it because we'd only heard like about Shirtail, like I know a person who knows a person who died of it. But now it's like everybody in Minnesota is starting to know somebody who has it. And basically I went to a funeral 3 weeks ago, and 3 people, there were 2 infected people in the funeral, and now it's spreading. So, I mean, we all know people who have it, and my nieces work at the hospital, and they know people are dying every day from it. It's like, and they still don't believe in it. I mean, what do you need? I don't know.
That's how conspiracies work.
Oh, it's amazing. But I mean, there some of those relatives who people I love are being really stupid. And it's just like, God, it's only a matter of time before one of them fall. It's just like, God. Anyway, I will go on with this. That was my little rant.
Brainbug, how's it going, buddy? Why the fuck aren't you in here?
I don't know why Bug won't come in. He doesn't like us.
Maybe because he doesn't have the link. No, maybe because he doesn't have the fucking link.
The link is right up there, about 4 or 5 cat messages up.
Oh yeah, it is there. There it is. Okay.
Yeah, and there it is again. It's right under Bug's name.
Maybe he'll click on it if I put it in the chat.
Well, maybe you should do it. Yeah. There you go.
Oh, are we all just putting the link in the chat?
Maybe.
Everyone should put a link in the chat.
Maybe.
Link in the chat.
Nope, he's got to clean a kitchen.
Yeah.
What?
Well, honestly, I probably have to get going as well.
Pussy.
Yeah, I probably got to get going too.
Pussy. You guys don't have to go. Do you? You guys are fucking noob streamers.
It's true.
Noob streamers. Like, you guys would not last in a 5 or 6 hour stream.
I would definitely not.
My showing up at all tonight was a fucking miracle with the way I feel. So,
well, see, you kind of have a justification, though.
Kind of.
Well, I have a justification as well.
No, you don't.
I have an Orgo exam tomorrow, and I am still too behind the class. I have not taken any of the practice exams, any of the.
What the fuck is Orgo? Is that like a new recipe for sauce or something?
No, it's about orgies. How to have an orgy.
No, but seriously, no. What is Orgo? Is that organic chemistry or something? Yeah,
call it Orgo. The cool kids call it Orgo now.
Am I here?
Yeah,
organic chemistry. Okay, as some people call it.
Okay, wait a minute. You don't know if you're here and you're going to take a chemistry exam tomorrow? I think you should establish that you do exist before you attempt to take an exam.
Oh,
that's overrated. You don't need that existential crap.
I don't know. I think you need to.
Therefore, I take exam.
Well, how the fuck do you found your morality if you don't exist, man?
You say I think, therefore I am. I say Amelia Clark, therefore I am.
Yeah. Okay. So should we end the stream, guys?
Should we?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, we've been going 2 hours. It's a regular time.
Yeah, we're doing good. Okay, I'm going to end the broadcast. We'll see all y'all out in
time, 2 hours.
Chat, all 2 of you that are watching. Brainbug and...
Dude, there's 9 people watching.
Oh, really? Cool. Yeah. Goodbye, guys.
Night.
Bye, everyone.